it was life-changing for me. It actually impacted me. Like, I had no idea I would walk away the way I walked away from it because I just figured, "Oh, it's for the newbies or the up and coming or the, encouraging people to get their kids out of school." But it's also for us. Like, I had such a renewed sense of why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton and welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am back today with Aby Rinella, my very favorite guest. Actually, you're not even my guest, my favorite co-host.
Sister!
You started out as a guest.
I did start out as a guest.
Somehow, how'd you buy your way into being my co-host?
I have
don't
no
even
idea.
know how that happened.
I think I was a guest once, and then I was a guest twice, and I don't know. That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Here's
We're going to have to
everybody's
go back.
challenge. Go back and listen to all of them and find out what happened. How did this happen?
I don't even know, but it's so fun. I love that people call you Aby Rinella now. It's
People in real
hilarious.
life call me Aby Rinella.
I know, because you are
And
Aby
then
Rinella.
I know how they know me because I'm not Aby Rinella in all the other things we do. So if
Just
anybody says Aby Rinella, I'm like, "You're a Schoolhouse Rock junkie, aren't you?"
right. We need roadies. That's what we
Yeah,
need.
roadie. Yeah.
We
Oh
need
my
to
gosh.
travel with the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast
Totally.
and, have roadies come and travel with us and I don't know, sell t-shirts, which we're going to start selling probably after the new year. We're actually
I
going to come out
can't
with
wait. Swag.
a line of Schoolhouse Rock swag. Exactly.
Oh
Which will be
my
super
goodness.
exciting. We're working on some different designs and ideas and stuff right now. So we are excited about that. So
I
that
can't wait.
is to come. But first, okay, now we can actually talk about the release of Schoolhouse Rocked because we are now the week after it came out. It released on Friday of last
I'm
week.
dying. I am dying because I feel like all we've talked about is there is this movie we promise it's
Right.
coming.
It's coming. It's
It's
coming. It's coming.
actually like you guys could go right now and watch it tonight.
Yes.
It's here.
Yes.
It's actually here.
It is actually here
Ah!
live. Schoolhouse
So
Rocked from
exciting.
the
And so of
internet.
course you have to have swag to go with it because who doesn't want a t-shirt?
Right. Right. A Schoolhouse Rock t-shirt.
And we're homeschool moms, so make us like hoodies and
Right. Well, it's one of the lines in the movie is Mike Smith, who's the president of HSLDA, and he says in the movie, "I do believe that homeschool moms are America's greatest heroes." And so
yes.
that is like my newest t-shirt design is we're going to make a t-shirt that says homeschool moms, America's greatest heroes. Isn't that super
I
cool?
want one. Can I get on the list?
Absolutely. I'll
I
give
love
you one
it.
for free, Abby,
Ah,
since you're the
see?
co-host.
Since
And
I
then
went
we'll
from
wear
guest to
them on the
co-host.
podcast together, which will be really
Let's
fun
do
so
it.
people can see it. So if you guys have ideas of
Ooh,
t-shirts or, mugs, whatever,
yeah.
homeschool bags, whatever you guys want, let us know what we can sell in the store, what you guys want. If you have any sayings, like very clever homeschool sayings, all the
Ugh,
clever things that Abby and I say on the podcast, let us
totally.
know
So
and we'll
clever.
make you a t-shirt.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so tell me about the premiere. Like, okay, this is happening. How did it go?
Yeah.
Tell me about the premiere. Schoolhouse Rocked was in a theater,
Yes.
actually. Okay, give us the scoop.
Oh, so much fun. Okay, so last week we had the premiere and it was in a movie theater here in Tulsa. It was so exciting. We actually sold out the entire theater. Every seat was
Ugh,
sold. And it was so neat to just have people coming in and just the excitement of people finally being able to see this movie for the first time. And we had, all the way from tiny babies all the way to, homeschool parents, of course.
uh,
And man, it was an exciting, exciting evening just to see it on the big screen. That was actually the first time we had ever seen it on the big screen before. We've
that's
seen it, obviously
amazing.
on our monitors and everything else.
Right.
But it was really neat.
Uh,
We laugh. I don't know, I don't know how many people know this about us. My husband, who worked in the movie industry in Hollywood for many years and has since continued working in the film industry, we don't own a TV. Like, our family actually does not
smart.
own a TV. And so whenever we watch a movie in our family, we watch it on a laptop,
On the laptop? That's
on our
so
little
funny.
MacBook, and we have to kinda squeeze onto the couch, and we all watch it together that way. And so we were like, "Well, we cannot certainly watch the premiere of Schoolhouse
No.
Rocked on a laptop." And so God was good to provide this amazing theater for us that we could show the movie. And it was really cool. We invited several of we're in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So we invited several of the local homeschool co-ops and organizations to come in, including Homeschool Idaho, who's our state organization.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
and no,
Your state organization is
oh,
not
I said
Homeschool Idaho.
that's your state
I just
organization.
got excited. I'm like, "You're moving and you didn't tell me."
I
What a
always say
letdown.
Homeschool Idaho.
Because Homeschool Idaho rocks, but so does Homeschool
Homeschool
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yes.
I don't know why it just rolls off my tongue that way. I
That's so
always wanna say
funny.
Homeschool Idaho,
That's alright.
probably because I heard you say it for so long before
So
I
many
moved to
times.
Oklahoma, and they both have similar names. Anyway,
That's true.
Homeschool
And they're both super
Oklahoma.
awesome states.
Yes, they are, and super amazing states to homeschool in.
Yes.
Very free state. So if you guys are looking
Yes.
for a state to move to, Oklahoma and Idaho are both excellent, free loving homeschool states. Anyway, so Homeschool Oklahoma, Classical Conversations, BJU Press, and Homeworks by Precept, IEW, and then several other organizations came in. We had tables set up so that people who saw the movie could see what resources were available to them locally, and it was so fun. We had a local bakery, actually Brooklyn, my oldest works for a bakery now and she loves it. And so the bakery that she works for, they made a bunch of cookies to celebrate with us. And so we had
Oh
a
my
dessert afterwards.
goodness.
And then after we showed the movie, we did a live Q&A with our family and Andrew Pudawa
Ugh,
because he lives here in
right.
Tulsa. He's the reason why we're here, of course. And well, actually, the Lord's the reason why we're here, but the Lord
He used
used Andrew to
Andrew.
bring us here. So we did a Q&A with them and it was so much fun just to get to engage with the audience and people got to ask questions and we got to just
Oh,
talk about our journey and the movie and it was such an amazing night. And for those who are my Facebook friends, a lot of people, it's so funny because people just responded to this message like crazy. I bought a dress 4 years ago for the release of Schoolhouse Rocked, for the premiere,
ugh,
thinking that it was gonna take place, like, within that year or something. I
right.
mean, it's so crazy thinking about, how our timing was completely different than the Lord's,
Ugh.
but that was what we thought, and I found this beautiful dress. I don't like dresses. I don't know if you know that about me.
No, I didn't.
I think I own 3 dresses
Wow.
total. I don't wear dresses, like, ever, and well, I won't say ever. Rarely do I wear a dress, and it's
Dresses.
usually if I'm somewhere, going to a wedding or
Right.
something special. But I saw this dress and I fell in love with it and I bought it.
Uh-huh.
And that dress it's been worn a couple of
It's
times at a
been
couple of
waiting.
other events, but it's
Yeah.
really been for the premiere of the movie. And so I finally got to wear my
Uh,
dress. And it was just a beautiful, amazing night. So encouraging. People were so excited about the movie afterwards. They were excited beforehand,
right.
but the response that we got afterwards was just amazing. And
Ugh,
again, all by God's grace and for his glory. And so it's been really neat. Just as this week is still unfolding, we're getting tons of messages from people just telling us how the movie is impacting them.
that's
We
so
got a
awesome.
message the other day from a lady who told us that her husband had watched the movie and just the impact it made on her husband and him realizing what
Wow.
his role was to encourage and support his family and his wife and his kids. And
That's awesome.
just to see that people's eyes are being open, even, it's homeschool parents, of course, who just need to be validated,
Right.
but even those who are not yet homeschooling and they just
Oh,
need answers.
huge. Yeah, and
So,
I was thinking, "Oh, mom's night out," but then when we watched it, I'm like, "Oh, no, no, this isn't a mom's night out. This is like a date night movie because
sure.
husbands need to see." And then I watched it and I was like, "Our teens need to see this. Our
Yeah.
homeschooled teens need to see this." So, that's so awesome. I got a few messages too about people that watched it and they said the same thing, like, "Wow, I couldn't believe how impactful it was to the fathers, and just
Yeah.
and how good it was." So, that's
Yeah.
so
It's exciting.
exciting.
Lots of people are doing watch parties, which is
Yeah,
really fun.
right.
But I will say, I think a lot of people are doing watch parties with moms, and then moms are going back and saying, okay, I've got to watch this with my
With my
family.
husband, yeah.
Yes, and so that's exciting as well.
It
People are signing
is.
up and doing group showings and scheduling those and
I
getting all the
love it.
details of those worked out to show them at their churches, and,
Yep.
you can do it at a local theater if you have the capability of doing that, and it's just exciting to see
It is
how
exciting.
God's hand is moving through this movie. So we are, um, just anxious to see how
What
what kind of
happened?
impact this will have
Right.
because it's been an exciting
It's an
journey.
impactful movie, and it's not I don't know, I've talked a million episodes about how amazing the movie is, so basically, this is what's exciting. Now I can just say, "Go watch it."
Yes,
Like,
yep.
you can go watch it.
Yeah,
And then
go watch it.
I just like hearing people's feedback, so go watch it and then message me
Yep.
on Facebook or Yvette. Like, I love having conversations about, like, what did you learn? I went into watching the movie honestly like, okay, this is a total disclosure, and I love you, so don't be offended, but I was like, "I'm watching this because this is my friend Garrett and Yvette's movie, but I'm already sold on homeschool, like, I'm the convinced, I'm already like, this is my world. I'm not gonna walk away life changed because I've already chosen this life, right?" So Jesse and I watched it and our older kids were there, and it was life changing for me. It actually impacted me. Like, I had no idea I would walk away the way I walked away from it because I just figured, oh, it's for the newbies or the up and coming or the, encouraging people to get their kids out of school. But it's also for us. Like, I had such a renewed sense of why I'm doing what I'm doing and how excited we were and how
Yeah.
much bigger it is. So I really think there's nobody that this movie isn't for. So
Yes. Yes.
that's why we wanna hear from you. Like, what
Yeah.
about it impacted you guys?
Yes. Yes. Let us know for sure. You can message us
And
at
which
podcast.
way did
Oh,
you like Yvette's hair best?
oh gosh.
So that's the other question.
Because
Just
I have
kidding.
like 7 different hairstyles
Right.
through the whole movie. Apparently, I changed my hair a lot. But
So where
anyway,
should they email us to tell
so
us which
email us
hairdo they
at
like?
podcast@schoolhouserock.com and
Okay.
let us know what you thought of the movie. We would love some testimonials and just let us know how it's impacted you. But
Yay.
we are not here actually just to talk about the movie this week. I know you guys have been hearing about it. We're so excited for you to see it. But we actually this week are going to answer an important question that so many homeschool parents ask, and it's about money and finances and homeschooling. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about that soon.
What we do at IEW is break through the noise of the grammar and the writing prompts, and we say, this is what you do, step by step. And I've witnessed it over and over again, both watching Andrew teach and hearing from parents, this is the best writing program. We've made it so easy and made it really affordable. So any mom, any teacher can teach writing to their children using our course. And we guarantee it.
We are back with Abby. I want to talk today about finances because, and like, we're not going to dig into anybody's pocketbook.
No.
Though I will say, as we offer all sorts of exciting resources for homeschool families, I have strongly encouraged everyone to have a Schoolhouse Rocked bank account.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's wrong.
And just deposit right into it.
Just right.
Oh, that's so funny.
10% to the Lord, 10% to savings, and maybe like 5% of your paycheck should go into your
Ah,
Schoolhouse Rocked bank account. But
to buy all the swag
to buy all
that's
to buy
coming
all
out,
the swag and all the
right?
great resources that we talk
Uh,
about. But one of the questions I know that people raise all the time, and it doesn't matter what your situation is, what your family situation is. One of the questions that people raise all the time is that they feel like they can't afford homeschooling. They're
mhm,
fearful that it's expensive and it's going to cost a lot of money, or maybe mom isn't able to homeschool and work at the same time, so mom's going to have to quit her job. I mean, there's so many reasons that the
right,
the money issue
right,
falls into this fear of homeschooling.
right,
And so we're going to talk through some of that because I don't think we've ever actually done a whole episode
right,
on homeschooling and finances. And so,
right.
um, Abby, I want you to kind of take the reins with this one for a few minutes. And what are you? Because I know you talked to lots of people too. What are you hearing on this end?
Well, I think it's interesting because in the past, like our parents' generation, you would always hear parents, I would never homeschool, right? And now, or they think the homeschoolers are weird or they look down on you. And I've never felt that. I get more of this. Oh, I wish I could do that. Oh, I wish we could afford to homeschool, but I have to work full time. Both my husband and I, not both my husbands, both my
Only
husband
one
and
singular husband.
I, both my husband and I have to work, so we can't afford it. And it's almost like what I have felt, and I don't know if anyone else has, but it's like, oh, that's an elite thing that only certain people can do
Mhm.
that can afford to do. And um, well, that's simply not true. And we kind of want to today debunk it. And also to say, I know so many moms that say, I wish I could, but we can't afford it. And my goal is when people are done listening to this that they say, "We can't afford it. We can't
Yeah.
afford not to," you
Yeah.
know? And, so we're gonna talk about all sorts of things, deep things, but also just I'm excited to give some just really practical tips and tricks where you walk away and go, "Oh, well, that is doable for us," you know? And I know we're not gonna dive into anybody's specific pocketbooks, but I just wanna tell you a little bit. I'm not afraid to tell you a little bit about our family. Like, we are not a well-to-do, well-off family. We live on one very, um, smaller income. We live in a small we it's not like I'm sitting here being like, we're living on our 50,000 acres in our
Right.
mansion, and I'm gonna tell you how to afford homeschool. It's definitely not that way. I would say that we're definitely on the bottom end of things, honestly. And we could technically be in that we could never afford to homeschool, and I said I could never afford to come home from work and raise my kids. But through our experience, that's what I can't wait to share some tips and tricks how you really can. You really, 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 really can. I promise
Yeah.
you.
It's so funny as you're talking about that. Just before Abby and I actually got on to start recording this, we had this long conversation about yard sailing and
Yes,
how this is how both of our families get a lot of the things we need.
totally.
I mean, I get books at yard sales, we get clothes at yard sales. This super cute
Yes.
jacket that I'm wearing right now, I got at a yard sale the
Yard
other day for
sale.
like $3. It's just amazing the things that you can find when
Yep.
you don't have a huge budget, but the Lord
Right.
provides.
Totally.
So continue on. Yes. All that to say, what
All that to
neither of us
say,
are rich
no, neither of us
by
are
any
rich.
means.
But we can do it,
Mhm.
and you can do it. So that's kind of what we want to dive into. And I guess I want to start by saying the first step of being able to afford to homeschool is your heart, is the heart of being able to,
Mhm.
because the Bible says, um, for where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. And so if you have the heart to obey God, if you have the heart to homeschool, then again in Philippians 4:19 it says that God's going to supply all of your needs according to his purpose. It doesn't say wants. I keep trying to find the version that says wants. It's
Yeah.
not there. He's going to supply all of our needs. But those are the two verses that I really cling to of, where my heart is, there my
Mm.
treasure will be. And so if your heart is in obedience to God, if your heart wants to teach and train your children up in the way of the Lord, the reality is he is going to provide for you to do it. It might not look the way you think. It might not look the way your neighbors looks, but it will. And the heart is also, instead of saying I can't afford to come home and homeschool my kids, I think the bigger thing is you can't afford not to.
Yes.
You can't afford not to homeschool. There is a cost, and everything has a cost. Everything in life has a cost. So the question is, what is the cost going to be? Is it going to be your children? Or is it gonna be 2 incomes, you
Right.
know? And I wanna clarify that we're not talking to the single mom here. So if you're a single mom, this is a whole different thing. We're talking
Yeah.
to the 2 income couple who the Lord has said, "Bring home your kids," because he has, and you say, "We can't afford to." So we wanna help you, 1, get your heart. We have a story, and we don't have time on this, but we really couldn't afford to bring me home when we had kids, and we were losing our home and everything. And Jesse said, "You know what? That's okay. I'd rather lose my home than my family, and God will provide." So we were ready to move into a camper, and a total miracle happened. Like an absolute miracle happened, and God provided in an unbelievable way. And I know that he will for every family. It might not look the same as it looked for us, but he honors obedience. But we have to be
Yeah.
willing to say, I'm willing to let go of all the things that are keeping me from doing it. So I think that's the first part is the heart. We live in an era where sacrifice isn't highly regarded, right? I mean, that just
Yeah.
I look around and I'm like, nobody wants to sacrifice anything. Everybody says they think something, but no one wants to sacrifice. Um, and we also live in a can have it all. Everybody can have it all. We can have it all. We can have the job. We can have the da 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 da. Da. And the truth is, you can't. You can't have it all. Something has to be sacrificed. Something will be sacrificed. It might be. It's either gonna be your 2 income home, potentially. I mean, there's ways to work from home, but something will be sacrificed, or your kids.
Yeah.
There will be a sacrifice. So, um, I think that's the big one. And then we can go into details about you're listening to this like, "Yeah, yeah, right, Abby. No, tell us how to
Yeah.
do it," right? Like, tell us how this works. How can we practically make it
Yeah.
work? And that's what I'm excited to, but none of it matters if your heart isn't right. Seek first the kingdom of God,
Amen.
and all these things will be added to you. So if you've now listened and you're like, "All right, I'm willing, I'm ready to just jump in and trust the Lord," then we can go into a lot of these nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. We are actually out of time for this episode, but let's come back on Wednesday and we're going to talk about some very specific steps that parents can take to be
Cool.
able to afford homeschooling. And some of them might be a little painful and hard, but
Yeah.
again, worth it.
Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. So,
Everything has a cost, and everything there will be a sacrifice. So you just have to choose, what am I going to sacrifice and what's
yeah,
the cost going to be?
amen. So join us again on Wednesday. We'll be back to talk more about how you can afford to homeschool. You guys, if you haven't yet watched the movie, please go to schoolhouserocked.com. You can get all of the information there. You can just click on the big old blue button that says buy a ticket, see when it's showing, figure out, it's pretty easy. Actually, you just, create a quick account and you download the movie and you watch it.
If you figured out how to listen to this podcast, you can figure out how to get the movie.
Yes. But before you do that, maybe invite some friends or family over to watch it with you and just allow it to be a blessing to you and your family. So schoolhouserocked.com. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We are so thankful that you have joined us today. We will be back with you on Wednesday to talk more about homeschooling and finances. Have a great rest of your day. See you then. Bye.
A mom said to me one time, "Aren't you worried about sheltering your children?" And I said to her, "We care more about sheltering tomato plants in the culture right now than we do about our precious children." And so if someone wants to accuse me of sheltering my children, my answer is always absolutely yes. I will shelter my child until I know my child can stand up against the elements of the culture so that they can grow to maturity. And we slowly begin to remove the shelter from around them as we see that they are mature and that they understand the battle lines around them and can engage the culture from a position of strength rather than weakness.